With this week's church shooting in Neosho, religious leaders across the country may be asking how they can keep their congregations safe. Well, the man who literally wrote the book on church security lives right here in the Ozarks, and he says there are special challenges in securing a place of worship because church doors are characteristically open. So how can churches welcome everyone except for those who would do harm? As Color 10's Aaron Israel reports, Certain says you don't have to rely on a higher power for sanctuary.
It's unbelievable that could happen.
Unbelievable, but Bob Certain says church violence like what happened in Neosho Sunday is possible. And he says these days no place is sacred.
For a pastor or church leaders to say it can never happen in my church, well, it can happen in their church, and it might happen in their church. The question is, are they prepared?
Certain wrote the book on church safety and security, which has a chapter dedicated to dealing with intruders. He says members and leaders at the First Congregation Church in Neosho handled their circumstances the best they could.
I don't think there's anything they could have done differently.
He says someone in the church called 911 immediately, which got police and paramedics to the scene for help. Certain also says following instructions from an armed intruder can reduce violence. But despite most churches' open-door policies, he does recommend preventative steps like forming a security team.
People who are just trained to be aware of any unusual activity, any unusual people, to where they can pay attention and maybe see a potential problem with somebody there.
He also recommends a written security plan where each staff member knows their role, like calling 911 and evacuation. Certain also says visible security cameras can help deter would-be criminals. But security measures aren't meant to keep people from going to church. Certain says feeling safe at church should give congregants a good feeling, almost as good as the real reason they're there.